Welcome back to the rest of the story. Well, it's safe to say, or it goes without saying, some things have happened. Yes, I shaved my face. For those of you that follow my Instagram, the rest of the story, you guys already know that we are done with tillage. I did not catch everything that we did because I was running on less than 7 hours of sleep over a span of 3 days. But I know there's people that have done worse. Now, I don't recollect that I've done much as far as in the cab here with the 82. It does have the anhydrous bar on it. I'm going to run over that real quick with you guys. This may be a little bit of an extended video, so just fair warning. That is what the controller looks like for the anhydrous bar. It's boom 1, boom 2, boom 3. Oh, I know. Quick rundown. When I'm doing this, I have it set for the field area because for a tank of anhydrous, I don't have any around here to really talk to you guys about it, but a field of anhydrous, depending on which setting you have it on, because there's 2 rates. See, rate 1, rate 2, and then manual. It's not going to bring up any of the rates because I'm not moving. But the higher the rate, the less area you cover. On the higher rate, I was covering 35 acres approximately. On the lower rate, I was doing about 40. Now, we put on a higher rate on corn ground. We put on a lower rate for corn on bean ground. I did double up some strips, and by doing that, I actually went through and the strips that were corn got the higher rate, vice versa. I think you guys pretty well got the gist of that. Now, was not running any kind of guidance for the most part. Last year, you guys know we had RTK, and you guys know we have guidance, just WAS guidance in the 4640. But the 8235, while you can unlock the auto steer, and all it is a button that you push and the tractor will automatically follow your track. We did not go through and do that this year, so I was completely running off of the screen here. I'm not going to run through and tell you or show you guys how to do it right now, just that I had it set up so I was drawing a map with WAS, which is the free signal, and what that does is that it was giving me an approximate idea about where I had to be in relation to my last pass, so I wasn't doing too much overlapping or underlapping, and I was doing an approximate application job. I mean, you want to be as close to correct as you can be, but there is room for error. When we go through and we spray our crops next spring, corn, we actually use 28% instead of straight water. Hold on, guys. The puppy's getting cold. He's sitting there shivering in my lap. Okay. Better? Okay, and yeah, that's enough of that. All it does is it brings it up a picture on the screen here, and it shows me where I should be in relation to my last pass. It's basically like a light bar signal. That's why we have that globe on the 82. Now, some of the tools that I use, I carry with me in the tractor to put anhydrous down because this is not our bar. You plan for the worst because things do happen. Now, it goes without saying, anhydrous, you use rubber gloves. You always wear rubber gloves when you're changing tanks or doing the hoses. I will show you that in the bar here. Hitch pin, because they don't provide a hitch pin, not a big deal. Crowbar, the reason I carry that, and a big hammer. I'll show you that also. It's because they're used for knocking the dirt off the shanks. The pipe wrench is actually used for changing the hose off the tanks. It allows me to cinch it down a little bit tighter. I did have one tank in particular that before that tank, I was taking them down by hand hand tight. They were working, but I had one. The seal was starting to get a little iffy, so I didn't have the pipe wrench this whole season, just in season here. I carried the ratchet set with me, didn't use it, basically just because didn't really need it. I was using the screwdriver more than anything. The biggest thing you need the screwdriver or the socket set for was actually the hose clamps on the anhydrous lines that go down into the knives. You go through corn stubble and you get some stalks that'll come up and hit the hose. It only happened to me twice. I really do like the bar we had this year. It worked really well. And crescent wrenches are just for a panic moment. And of course, goggles. Because I got one good, well, I did pretty good this year. Granted, you hope that you never have a bad instance with anhydrous. You guys remember my video on how farms work last year. I wasn't really positive about using anhydrous. I have my opinions about it. It's dangerous. It'll kill you. And it does so without hesitation or without any mercy. You got to respect it. Whoops. And ugh. Hold on, bud. Losing my dog here. Come on, bub. Alright, I gotta set you down for a second. Okay. Now, the yellow rope is your emergency shutoff for the tank going to the bar. I haven't had to use that this spring. It is kind of low on the 3-point. Last spring I had to use it. It was down a little bit lower. It might seem like it's kind of out of place for some people. I will agree with that. Thing is, my panic moment I had this spring, I had all the shanks blowing smoke on me last spring, even when I had it off. It was a connector issue. It pulled apart, yada yada yada. Me and Andrew go back and forth about that. But let me tell you what, when you panic, that rope isn't all that far away, because I can jump out of the back of that window pretty quick. Moving forward, no problem with Coulters. They do have a toolbox mounted on them full of the nuts and bolts and shear bolts and anything else that you may break. Yeah, nothing too serious. Now this is what it looks like across the back of the bar. Now you see how the knives, well, they really don't have much dirt on them anymore, but that anhydrous is so cold that the dirt actually freezes to it, especially if you're going through dirt that might be a little wet. So what happens is that you'll get a buildup of the knives, and I don't see any that, oh, there's one. You guys can see that far one over there. It's got a bunch built up on it. You gotta get out. If it's worse, as depending on the season, typically every tank full I would go out and I'd knock off every knife, clean all the dirt off of them, so they were all clean when I went to go start with a new tank. Very important that you do that, because you don't want any streaking from lack of nitrogen through your crops next year, simply because of an overlook on your part. Last year, that was a big issue. Guys, I really can't complain about putting an anhydrous on this year. We just got lucky as far as weather. We got all of our tillage done. We got all of our anhydrous on. We're sitting better for next spring of 2018 than we were for the spring of 2017, and I was feeling really good going into the spring of 2017. So the reason I say that is because I like to have as much ready for spring as we can, because we do not know what kind of spring we will have, which in turn we could have a wet late spring and then still have a week or so of field work to do yet before you can even begin to think about planting. So there's that. Here is the hose that you hook into the tanks. See it? It's just mounted on there right now. This is what I was using the pipe wrench on. It's a metal on metal contact onto the tanks, and it's kind of it is a bear to actually. I have a harder time actually getting them started connecting with the tank than I do actually tightening them down or loosening them up. Didn't have any issues with, okay, my biggest issue that I have when I put Anhydrous on, see these hoses? This is what the Anhydrous comes down through, and that right there is what 90% of my issues are when I do Anhydrous. See, you'll get a bunch of crud coming up through the knife, through the closing wheels. So the closing wheels, if you have a lot of residue, which sometimes you do, it'll come around the knife and build up, because these closing wheels are just sitting there. There's no spring, nothing on them, which it works really well. But then you get a bunch of corn residue that comes around the knife and catches on that and pulls it up. That happened to me 7 times. A lot less than last year. So this is a smaller bar than we had last year. It's a bigger bar than we had this spring, and quite honestly, it's just right. So it's kind of like the Goldilocks thing going on. The one we had last year, we could pull. It was a 17 shank. This is a 15. This spring we had a 13. Being able to use all 3 sizes with this 8235R. I like the 15 shank. Reason being is the 13 shank was too small. The tractor had power to spare, but the problem is you could actually go too fast because that rate controller automatically reads how fast you're going to control how much product it's supposed to be putting down. So what happens is being a farmer, and you know the tractor can actually pull a little bit faster, a little bit better, you start wanting to grab gears, and then what happens is the ride starts getting a little bit rougher. So with that 17 shank, could still pull it very well, but the problem is that actually had another fold to it. So what happened is it didn't fold just once, it folded again with the outside shanks for those last 2. And what I found that to be is that it was big enough that it was tedious to have to fold up and move to the next farm, because I do have this slowed down a fair ways. To fold it out, it probably takes 2 to 3 minutes, might seem kind of long for some, to fold it out, but I don't like getting carried away and having it cranked up too high on the flow, the hydraulic flow, and then just slamming it open and shut, because this thing busts, it's on us. In that 17 shank, even with this one, I folded up and I moved quite a bit. So this is my overview of the Anhydrous bar. Fair warning, I am not, these videos that you guys have watched, I haven't posted anything yet as far as putting Anhydrous down. I didn't even videotape me chisel plowing last night. This is what's been going on. I put all of our Anhydrous down in the span of 28 hours. From start to finish, I only stopped for, I think it was 3 hours total, and that was basically just to do chores. And what did we have there? Something went down, I couldn't go out right away. I don't know, I got caught up in the farm here. But this, we are done using the chisel plow. We won't be chisel plowing anything next spring. The pins are still an issue. I actually said heck with the pins. I went and put a piece of brace wire in. That actually worked better than any of the pins I put in. Greased it well. That bar is still not straight. So, yeah. I may have some colorful things to say about that bar. What's going to happen with this? The 76, the Rhino cutter behind it, even the 4020, the 8235, and the VT, plus the grain carts. In the next day or so, I don't think I actually have a couple things I have to get done tomorrow. It's not really an option. But the plans are, and I'll be showing it to you, we will, going over everything with the air hose, pressure washing some of the equipment off, like this one. Going to definitely be taking the air hose to the tractors We haven't done it. We didn't do it last fall, but it'd be nice to blow the cabs out, clean the cabs out. They have all the tools that are in the 8235. Blow everything out, go through and wash everything off, give it a good run, go over with the pressure washer. So that way next spring all we gotta do is hit it with the washer real light and they'll be cleaned up and ready to go to work. But for that, the puppy is getting restless. I think he peed on me. All right, well, I'm feeling really good that field work is done. I'm run kind of ragged here. I'm tired, need some rest, on to working with cattle and getting the rest of this done. We got really lucky as far as the weather went. It did not have to improve like it did, but it did. So everything's sitting very well. So that's a catch-up video. Hope you guys enjoyed the Anhydrous videos, whatever I managed to get put up to this video, and you guys will start getting more of the ins and outs of what's going on around here. The 7600 does need some TLC rather urgently. I definitely need to be looking at the 3-point arms. Talked to some people and it's been pointed to rather heavily that those raise and lift cylinders do need to be worked on. The seal is out of the one side for sure. And yeah, I'm going to be doing some videos on that. So, until next time, take care, take it easy, keep in touch.